is your boy Matt Talk Sports, and it is a big week when the Buffalo Bills play the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a huge week, but I am back predicting, previewing a full NFL slate. This time we are in week 9. We are already there, boys. Next week is week 10. I just taught you guys how to count, but next week is week 10. So cherish these weeks, boys. I'm telling you, they go by quick. We need to cherish them. We are in week 9. We got some great games in the week 9 slate. Our first week 9 game just ended. Ravens beat the shit out of the miserable Miami Dolphins. But if you made it this far, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel right now. Why don't you? To see this big bearded face everywhere you go, especially on YouTube. Subscribe right now. And also follow me everywhere at Matt Talk Sports, Instagram, and TikTok in particular. Now let's get into it. Week 9, we are here, and the first game of week 9 was a complete dud. But there are some storylines within this game that could be prominent for weeks to come. The Ravens beat the Dolphins 28-6. Dolphins fall to 2-7. Ravens move to 3-5. That is 2 straight wins. Lamar is back, and I could have sworn today was National Tight End Day because Mark Andrews scored twice, Charlie Collier scored, and then obviously not a tight end, but Rashad Bateman scored the last touchdown of the game. Really, this game is a tale of two halves. The Dolphins actually looked pretty goddamn good to start the first half. Lamar looked slow, the slowest I've ever seen him look in his career, but that is due to major injury. Clearly, that man was fucking injured to all the people that doubted him for a second, which is maybe me potentially, but nonetheless, Lamar looked really good passing the ball today. 18 to 23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Mark Andrews. Derrick Henry, 19 for 119 yards. A lot of that was garbage time rushing though, but still, nonetheless, Derrick Henry and Lamar had great games today. So if you're a Ravens fan, now you're 3-5, and you have 10 days rest moving into the next game, you're feeling good. And you're feeling a little bit healthy, particularly on the defensive side. Malachi Starks gets his first pick of his NFL career, and man, the Ravens look good today. Mark Andrews looked really good today. Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers did what he needed to do today. The offense looked back, and despite Lamar clearly not being 100% yet, it's a possibility that this is a good sign for things to come. Despite me thinking this game being a blowout, more so on the Dolphins, because the first half play of the Dolphins was way different than the second half play of the Dolphins. Now, the Ravens were playing good defense, don't get me wrong, but the Miami Dolphins were horrible on offense in the second half. Tua finished the day with 25 for 40, 261 passing, and 1 touchdown. He should have had 2 picks. Roquan Smith dropped a really easy interception that could have been an interception for a good return. Devon Achane, they stopped running the ball within the second half, 14 for 67. Jalen Waddle, 6 for 82. He is so fast, man. I love Jalen Waddle. Malik Washington, 3 for 48. He did have a fumble. Both Washingtons tonight had a fumble. Taj Washington and Malik Washington, and both of them lost it. Really, the Miami Dolphins defense was doing a good job. It was doing a quite quaint job on Lamar and the Ravens, but ultimately they couldn't keep up and stop the Ravens because honestly, the offense of the Dolphins was giving the defense nothing. So, Ravens, are they back? I mean, their schedule isn't that crazy. They're 3-5. Next week they play the Vikings with JJ McCarthy at quarterback. I mean, the Ravens' defense is a bad one, but they are healthy now, so I assume they beat JJ McCarthy. Then they play the Browns, the Jets, the Bengals, Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Packers, and Steelers. So, is this a team that could win out or only lose like 1 to 2 games moving forward? I think it is. Can 10-7 get you in the playoffs? We shall see. So we get into week 9. It's Chiefs versus Bills. I will save that game for second to last or last because that is a huge game. But we're going to start it off with the Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have lost twice since the Bills. They've only scored 10 points since that insane Monday Night Football game against the Bills. And right now, it's not great. They've scored 10 points in back-to-back games. They have 20 points in the past 2 games. And Kirk Cousins started last week, but man, that was not an inexcusable performance against the Dolphins last week. They looked horrible. Absolutely horrible. Now they have Penix back. They have Drake London back, so they are a healthier team. Their defense is still good. That blitz rate, it's going to be interesting to see what Drake May can do against the blitz this week. I'm curious how this game lines up. I actually think this game will be close. I think the Falcons are desperate. I think they're healthier on offense than they were these past couple weeks. And I think that defense is a pretty goddamn good defense, despite last week's result. I think this is a close game. I actually think the Falcons cover plus 5.5, but I do think the Patriots win this game just because they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and I think Drake May is playing some great ball. But I do think this is a test for the Patriots. Hey, if you're legit, like a lot of people think you are, and that you seemingly think so, this is a game you should win, like flat out. So Patriots win this game. I think the Falcons cover, and I do think this is a 3-point game either way. I can see the Falcons winning by 3. I can see the Patriots winning by 3. But ultimately, I think the Patriots win. Here's my ideal Sunday: Broncos win, Patriots lose, Bills win. Just perfect because perfect. I would love that. I would love it. The Bills would be first in the AFC East despite losing to the Patriots. So that's my ideal outcome. Patriots to lose, Broncos to win, and then Bills to win. So that would be my ideal outcome. So Patriots win that game, Falcons cover. I hope the Falcons win outright. They are healthier this week on offense, and I think that defense is slept on, despite last week's result against the Miami Dolphins. Moving on, we got a shit show, shit show alert. Chargers 5-3 head into Tennessee to face the 1-7 Tennessee Titans. We thought Brian Callahan was bad. This intern coach for the Tennessee Titans is pretty goddamn bad as well. Has anyone ever been fired for being an interim head coach? I know they've been moved on from, but goddamn, you might have to throw someone else in there after this week. Chargers are getting a little bit healthier despite still being injured at running back, but Vidal's been moving pretty goddamn good for the Chargers these past couple weeks. Ultimately, I think the Titans are a really bad team. They're a bad team. Cam Ward, I still believe in him, but he has a hard time hanging on to the football. He turns the ball over quite a bit. The run game, despite Tony Pollard having 424 yards rushing this year, not really scary. And then this Chargers defense should be able to lock down this Titans offense. I mean, logistically so. And I think they have the better offense, they have the better quarterback, and they have the far superior head coach. So I think the Chargers cover -8.5, and they win whichever way they can against the Titans. Unless the Chargers just sleepwalk heading into Tennessee, which who knows? They're traveling to the East Coast, could be a possibility, but I don't see. I think the Chargers win by 10 or more points, and I think the Titans continue to be one of the worst teams in the NFL, if not the very worst. Um, Moving on, maybe a shootout. Hopefully, a shootout. Chicago Bears coming off losing to Tyler Snoop Huntley heads into the Cincinnati Bengals, who just lost to the New York Jets. Now, there's a saying that might be said quite a bit of times during this video: you're not as good as you were last week, and you're not as bad as you were last week. Is one of these teams as bad as they were last week, or are they both going to be firing like fireworks in this game? Because I think this is going to be a shootout. The Bears are banged up in their secondary, but ultimately they do have firepower. Really, this is a big Caleb Williams game. Is he going to be able to play fucking good in this game? Because I think Caleb Williams needs a big game. It has not been pretty for him ever since the Cowboys game. He's been pretty average, if not worse. This is a big game. I mean, Justin Fields had 262 yards passing against the Bengals last week. And I think Justin Fields is one of, if not the worst passer of the football at his position of quarterback. And Caleb Williams, you haven't looked great since the Cowboys. We saw what you did against the Cowboys. You had 4 touchdowns and a great game. Can you replicate what you did against the Cowboys a couple weeks ago? I think you can. I think this will be a shootout. However, I think Joe Flacco beats the Chicago Bears here. And I shouldn't be doing this. They lost to the Jets. They really lost to the Jets last week. But the Jets, Nick Mangold game, and Justin Fields was playing the game of his lifetime because he was dealing with a lot emotionally. I just think the Chicago's Bears defense is not good enough to hold back this now run game apparent Bengals offense. And then they have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins relatively had quiet games last week. I think they have a crazy game this week. I think this game is a battle of DJ Moore, Rome Odunze versus Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins ultimately win. And I think Joe Flacco does what he's meant to do with the Bengals. 784 yards passing, 81 completions out of 126 attempts, and 7 touchdowns. He hasn't thrown a pick yet with the Bengals, I believe. He's been cooking, man. And I think he cooks here. Like, he wasn't the reason why they lost last week to the Jets. The Jets were just playing with God last week, man. I'm telling you. So I think the Bengals win this game, and I think the Bears fans start to question Caleb Williams. Listen, the loss will not matter if Caleb Williams plays really good. All you got to hope is Caleb Williams plays really good because now there is doubt creeping in with Caleb Williams. You can argue he's the third or fourth best quarterback of his draft class after being the number one pick. I think he's third behind May and Jaden Daniels, but you can argue he's fourth if you want to put Bo Nix ahead of him. But I think the Bengals win. I think they get the upset. I think they get back on track after losing to the Jets. You're not as good as you were last week, and you're not as bad as you were last week. And I think the Bears were who they were last week, and the Bengals just got caught up in the Nick Mangold and Justin Fields game. So Bengals win. That is an upset win for me, in my opinion. Colts versus Steelers. The Steelers are home dogs again against the hottest team in the NFL. This line is weird to me. The Colts are -3.5 heading into Pittsburgh. I feel like this should be a higher line. I think the Steelers' defense is really bad. Now they're facing one of the best offenses of all time, and certainly the best offense of this year. Jonathan Taylor is having a historic year. Colts, very underrated passing attack. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alex Pierce, Tyler Warren, Mo Alley Cox, even throwing receiving back Amir Abdullah and Jonathan Taylor, what he can do out of the receiving backfield, which is underrated. I think the Colts win here, and I think they win because they have the way better offense, and honestly, they have the better defense. I can see this being a shootout as well because I think the Pittsburgh Steelers offense isn't bad at all, and I think Aaron Rodgers could pose some problems to this Colts secondary. But ultimately, I think this defense for the Steelers is in dire stress, and it's true they could be coming out hot this week after losing in an embarrassing way at home, especially having the lead in that game and then just getting pretty much blown out in the second half by the Packers. So this could be like Steelers are so angry, their home dogs are going to win this game because of Mike Tomlin's track record and the Colts finally meeting their fate that everyone's been thinking they're going to meet. But I don't think the train of the Colts stops here. I think the Colts win this game, and I think they pull out, and I think they cover the spread of -3.5 against the Steelers here. I think the receiving core for the Colts has a big day. I think Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, and most importantly, Jonathan Taylor have big days. So I think the Colts score at will. They might even have long drives that will make them win this game. Give me the Colts. This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. Give me the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Jones, man. Last Crusade. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Give me Daniel Jones in this game. I think this line is telling you what's going to happen. Moving on. Well, if you would have asked me last week if I think the 49ers are going to lose this game, I would have said yeah. But taking the week, thinking about this game, 49ers coming off a loss to the way better coached team. Giants had Neighbor go out earlier this year. Now they have Scatterboo. They're going to be stuck with Tyrone Tracy, which is not bad. He's a pretty goddamn good back, but I don't trust his receiving core for the Giants. And I know the San Francisco 49ers struggled last week on offense, and their defense really wasn't good. But I think you're not as good as you were last week, and you're not as bad as you were last week. So give me the 49ers. I think their defense bounced back. I think their coaching staff shows why they're one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL. And I think CMC has a day. He had an off week last week. I think he has a day. I think George Kittle has a day. And I think Jackson Dart struggles against Salah's well-coached defense, despite the injuries being pretty prominent on the 49ers. Like, would I be surprised if the injuries have caught up with the 49ers this week, particularly what we saw last week against a really bad offense in the Texans? No. But I think the 49ers are really well-coached. I think the offense for the 49ers is underrated. Kittle, CMC, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall and company, Kendrick Bourne. I think the offense is getting healthier, and I think the offense is what's going to win this game for the 49ers and the brilliant coaching staff they have over there with Saleh and Shanahan. So give me the 49ers covering the -2.5 against the Giants in MetLife. If Jackson Dart wins this game, oh man, the hype for Jackson Dart is surreal. Especially without Neighbors and Scatterboo. You're winning this game with Wandale, Bellinger, Johnson, Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary and company. Boy, I know their offensive line has been playing a lot better too. Andrew Thomas, one of the best offensive lines when he's playing healthy. So I would not be surprised if the Giants won that game because I've had them winning for the past week. But I switched it late to 49ers. So give me the 49ers -2.5 in MetLife. Moving on. I'm liking a lot of dogs here so far, especially on the road. The Broncos, depending what book you look at, they're underdogs on FanDuel. They're +1.5 heading into Houston. Houston looked really good last week. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL. That is a Super Bowl winning defense. I don't think this offense is going to put up 26 points again this week. I don't know if they could put up 17. I think this Broncos defense, despite not having Pat Surtain in this week, is a goddamn good defense, and I think their pass rush is what's going to win them this game. I think that Texans O-line did not struggle last week, and I think that's mainly due to because Nick Bosa was out. And I know Fred Warner's a middle linebacker, but Warner's out for the season, and that's a really banged up and raw defensive group. I think the Broncos are super, 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 super talented on defense without Pat Surtain, and I think they dominate this game. And I do prefer their offense as well in this game. I know Bo Nix might struggle against this mighty Texans defense, which is the case. Could I see the Texans defense dominating this game and willing them to a win? Of course, because that's what this team is fueled on. This is how that team's going to win the game. Their defense. It's mighty. It's a Super Bowl winning defense, but I think the offensive line for this Texans team is a problem, and I think the Denver Broncos will exploit that. I think Nick Bonito will exploit that. I think he's going to have 10 sacks by the end of this weekend. He's at 8 right now, in case you're wondering. So, listen, I can see Nick Collins having a bad day. I can see Nico Collins having a big day because Pat Surtain's not in. So, I could see him scoring a touchdown. I would not be surprised if he scores a touchdown, especially not first touchdown. So, but I do think this Denver Broncos offense is good enough to win this game, and I think their defense is going to be causing massive problems for CJ Stroud in the pocket. And I think they'll have a hard time running, which makes the passing game that less scary. Despite me liking Hutchinson and Noel and Collins, I think this Texans offense will struggle and they won't have the week they had last week. Give me the Broncos on the road. That's 3 straight road teams I've picked to win this week. So I hate that, but give me the Broncos, man. I think the Broncos win this game. I think their defensive line causes scary problems for CJ Stroud this week. Moving on. I'm definitely not going road team here. JJ McCarthy is officially starting for the Minnesota Vikings. Some people are questioning, is he ass or was he really injured with his high ankle sprain recently? We will find out here. Listen, I know the secondary for the Detroit Lions is banged up. Brian Branch is back though. Um, Kirby Jobis might be back, but he's questionable, so he's probably not going to play. But Terrion Arnold is out for a little bit as well, so they are banged up in the secondary despite Brian Branch coming back. They might be without Kirby Joseph and Terrion Arnold, so give me the Lions regardless, man. I'm not trusting JJ McCarthy yet. It's been a while since he played, and the last time he played, I was far, far from impressed, and I was far from being able to pick his spread or to win a game on the road against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. I think the Detroit Lions spaz. I could see Justin Jefferson getting back on the board. He only has 1 touchdown this year. He's getting another touchdown, man, this week. I just think the secondary being banged up for the Lions. I could see Justin Jefferson having like a 100-yard day and a touchdown. Give me the Lions this week. I think their offense is too overpowered. Gibbs, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, Isola, Khalif Raymond, Jameson Williams, Laporta, Brock Wright, like Jared Goff. This is too overpowered of an offense against this Vikings team that can't score. Just give me the Lions here. I think that defense is underrated as well, despite them missing some secondary pieces. So give me the Lions. The offense has a big day, and I think Hutchinson has a big day after signing that big contract. Give me the Lions here in Detroit, getting the win and moving to 6-2. Vikings fall to 3-5. Moving on. Not picking the road team again here. The Carolina Panthers coming off a loss to the Bills, 40-9. Bryce Young is back. Panthers are 4-4. Green Bay is 5-5. Green Bay is 5-1-1. Listen, Bryce Young's gonna have a bad day. Bad, 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 bad day. Well, I saw that defensive line of the Buffalo Bills, which is injured due to that Carolina Panthers O line. This Packers D line is gonna fucking eat Bryce Young alive, and I think they're gonna score a defensive touchdown this week as well. I think Micah Parsons has a sack or two, maybe even 3. I think Rashawn Gary has a sack. I think everyone. It's a sack. It's a sack day. Everyone on the Packers is getting a sack, man. Bryce Young is gonna be in hell. They won't be able to run the ball. They'll barely be able to pass the ball. Maybe in garbage time. Ted McMillan's a really goddamn good wide receiver. He probably gets a garbage time 80 yards or so, but ultimately the Packers, what a second half offensively from them against the Steelers last week. I think they keep it up this week. I think their defense wins them this game, but I think the offense scores quite a bit of points here. So I think they win by 35 to 40 points in this game. I'm calling my shot. I think the Packers, they win by 30 or 40, or they just have these long drives and they win by like 27-0. So give me the Packers. Their defense makes Bryce Young live in hell and see ghost. So I think Bryce Young has a bad day. I think Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard have a bad day. And I think the Packers keep on rolling. Move to 6-1-1, and the Carolina Panthers fall to 4-5. Packers, baby. I think go Pack go. They win that game. Jaguars off a bye, heading into Oakland. This is a weird game. The Jaguars are -2.5 in Oakland. Not Oakland. I apologize. I'm gonna keep that in, by the way. It should be Oakland. Instead, it's Las Vegas. This is a weird one. The Raiders are coming off a bye as well, I believe. Their last game was against the Chiefs. where they had like three first downs or something like that. Absurd. Um, this is nuts, man. This is a shitty game. Both of these teams stink, in my opinion. I picked the Jaguars to go 11-6, and I'll tell you what, that take is going to age badly. I did the same with the Steelers. I had them going 11-6 as well. I think that ages badly. Um, the Raiders are just, they're so bad, man. Brock Bowers, I assume he's going to be back and healthy, ready to go. Max Crosby's questionable. Brian Thomas Jr. is questionable. So is Travis Hunter, Devin Lloyd, and Tim Patrick. But I think all of them play. Even my boy Quentin Morris is questionable, by the way. Did not know he was a Jacksonville Jaguar. That sucks to hear. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm not doing it. I'm going the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think I like Liam Cohen better. I like the roster of the Jaguars better. And I think the Raiders have been absolutely atrocious this year. And I think the quarterback of the Raiders, Geno Smith, has been so bad at handling the ball and not turning it over that this opportunistic Jaguars defense is going to take advantage of that and have at least 1 to 2 turnovers forced. And I think the offense of the Jaguars will score just enough to win this game. Now, would I be surprised if the Raiders win this game? The NFL is weird, no. But I think the Jaguars move to 5-3, and I think the Raiders fall to 2-6. I think the Raiders are horrible, and I think the bad quarterback play is pretty startling. Maybe this is a game where the Raiders have a great time running the ball, but honestly, the offensive line is not good at all. But I hope Genty has a great game because I love Genty. Loved him in college, so I want Genty to have a good game. I want Brian Thomas Jr. to have a good game, but this game is just a game I don't want to watch, and I won't be watching, really. I'll have Red Zone on in the background as I'm watching Chiefs versus Bills. But let's get these other two games out the way. We'll get the last 425 game out the way, and we'll get the Sunday Night Football game out the way, and then we'll talk about the Buffalo Bills. We'll talk about a little bit about the Monday night game as well. So, the Rams in LA facing the Saints. They're minus 14.5, and rightfully so. They should be minus 14.5. The Saints are horrible. Tyler Shaw in that quarterback. Sean McVay and this defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL. Rams have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Let's just keep this nice and neat. The Rams are winning this game. They're winning by 20 plus. It's not even a contest. It's not even a conversation, really. Saints once were gritty and hard out to start the year. Now they're who we thought they were. They're one of, if not the very worst team in the NFL, and that's a fire sale going on in New Orleans. They want to get rid of all the veteran players. So the Rams win this game. They win outright. They win by 1,000,000. Starters are out of that game by the third quarter for the Rams. Moving on to the Sunday night game. This is a tough one, man. The Seahawks are so good on the road. They're off a bye. Commanders just lost to the Chiefs on a short week. Jaden Daniels is back, I believe. We don't know exactly yet, but Terry McLaurin is out. So Jaden Daniels is back. Terry McLaurin is out. Deebo Samuel's playing. The Seahawks defense is really good, man. Really, really good. But would I be surprised if there's some Jaden Daniels magic and some Dan Quinn magic? No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. But I'm going with the Seahawks here. They're really good on the road. Their defense is great. I think their offense, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jake Bobo, the two tight end duo, they have Bardner and Arojo, Kenny Walker, Shaq Charbonnet, Torrey Horton and the boys. Give me the Seahawks here. I know this is kind of chalky. I know it is, but the Commanders, their defense isn't that great. Despite showing a valiant effort on defense against the Chiefs this past Monday, I just give me the Seahawks. They're really good on the road. Their defense is spectacular, and I think Jackson Smith-Njigba, Charbonnet, and Kenny Walker, and how Sam Darnold's been playing is good enough. Now we know the Seahawks offensive line is susceptible, so maybe the Washington defense shows up, and Dan Quinn and the boys scheme up something that will cause problems for Sam Darnold. But I think that's highly unlikely, and I think the Commanders fall to 3-6, and I think the Seahawks move to 6-2. I think the Seahawks are sneakily one of the best teams in the NFL. Moving on to Monday night before we get in the Bills versus Chiefs. Cardinals versus Cowboys heading into Dallas. You want to know something funny? Kyler Murray is leading the Cardinals in rushing, and he's missed 2 to 3 games. He has 173 yards rushing on the season. Wow. This is a tough one, man. The Dallas Cowboys are getting people back on offense, offensive line particularly. They're getting BB and Tyler Smith back. To me, I am just not trusting the Cardinals. I think they're a fire. I think they're a shit show right now. I could see this game going over. I think Kyler Murray could show some Kyler magic in this game. He's playing in his old high school stadium. I mean, he's played here quite a bit of times. Give me the Cowboys, though. I think that offense gets back on track this week. They're not facing as good as defense as the Denver Broncos, and I think the Cardinals, despite me thinking the explosive wise, they are the more dangerous team than the Broncos on offense. I think the Broncos are more consistent and way better coached on offense than the Cardinals. So give me the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. They moved to 4-4-1. I think the Cardinals moved to 2-6. I think this game could be close, and I think the Cowboys pull away at the end, and I think this game goes over. That's a fun Monday night game. I don't mind that Monday night game at all. Give me the Cowboys though. Now, the game of the weekend, the best rivalry in football, despite the Bills being 0-4 against him in the playoffs. Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen. I'm glad this is in Buffalo, and this is a huge game. Huge, huge, huge game. This is a must win for both teams, but I do think the confidence of one team would be shaken more if they lost, and I think that's the Buffalo Bills. The Bills haven't been a good team all year. They haven't. As much as I want to say the Ravens are a good team, and that was a spectacular win, 15-point comeback, the Ravens are 2-6 or 3-6, whatever the record is, 3-5. I mean, so at the end of the day, they are who they are through the season right now, and we beat a 3-5 team, but we were down 15 points. This is a must win for the Buffalo Bills. I want a good win here. I want a confident win. But the Chiefs are the Chiefs. The Chiefs look like the best team in the NFL. They did look shaky against the Commanders though. Last Monday night, I will say that with Marcus Mariota at quarterback. If Marcus Mariota wasn't the quarterback of that game, they probably would have won that game, in my opinion. If Josh Allen was quarterback, they would have won that game. Or if anyone else was like Lamar Jackson or someone of that caliber, they would have won that game. The Chiefs look so good on offense though. Like they got their swagger back, man. Like the only thing that to me is frightening is like the Bills aren't good at run defense, but the run offense of the Chiefs isn't scary. Pacheco is questionable, so it's going to be Kareem Hunt and Brashad Smith at running back for the Chiefs. Their most efficient rusher and their most dangerous rusher this year has been Pat Mahomes. So we got to watch out for his scrambles. Josh Simmons, who's been the left tackle for the Chiefs, is questionable. Our D line looked really great last week. Ed Oliver got out early. He's out for like 4 games or so. He's on IR. Hopefully he comes back before playoffs if we get there. But the D line looked really great last week, and it was against a much worse offensive line than the Chiefs and the Carolina Panthers. I do think our defense showed some really great promise against the Andy Dalton led Carolina Panthers, but can they keep it up against the Chiefs, who have so many more weapons than the Panthers, and they have a much better, much better quarterback? That's a hard ask. That's a hard asking price. The major thing here is the Bills' offense. Will they be able to keep up if their defense can't? And usually it's yes in these games. Usually we know Josh Allen is going to play great in these games, and I still expect him to play great in these games. Josh Allen is a big game player. Despite him being 0-4 against the Chiefs in the playoffs, he is a big game player. He's done everything to win those games. He just hasn't because of the rest of the team. But I do think the Bills show up here on offense, and I think we look much better passing the ball than we have recently. I think we found a little bit something passing the ball in the second half. We have Josh Palmer coming back hopefully this week. Kincaid second week back, and then Keon Coleman. Has been a really tumultuous week for you. A lot of shit talk about Keon Coleman from Bills fans, from the national media, from Steve Smith, from talk radio. There's been a lot of shit talk to Keon Coleman this week, and I expect Keon Coleman to have a big game, and I think Josh Allen has been hearing the talk, and I don't think he'll be the vocal point, but I think Keon Coleman will be getting his share this week. James Cook, man, the Chiefs have been so good on defense this year. They're one of the best coach defenses in the NFL, and they've been showing that this year. They have really good talent on that team, and they are really impressive on defense. We know who they are on offense. They're continuously impressive. The biggest thing for me this week is Maxwell Harrison. How is he going to do on defense? Is he really? Like, we got to see it this week, man. You looked really good in some spots against the Panthers last week, but you played limited snaps. I think you're going to play a whole bunch of snaps this week, and I think you need to. And Xavier Worthy, he's the fast, pacey guy that we need to control. And I think Maxwell Harrison will bring some good defensive reps against Xavier Worthy this week. With the Bills, this is what I'm looking to see improvements on: the passing game and the defense of this team. I think if our defense continues what we did last week, which is a hard ask, we're playing a much better offense, then we will get something special from this Bills team this week. And I trust Josh Allen at the end of the day. All the shit talk I've been hearing to Josh Allen this week, especially from Bills fans, is what drives franchise quarterbacks away. Like, listen, I think it's completely fine to be objective talking about your team, but to talk about Josh Allen like this after a 40-9 win is nothing short of dumb and stupid. And clearly, the passing failures of this offense is on the wide receiving room because they can't get open no matter how long Josh Allen struggles. And clearly, he has no trust in anyone outside of Kincaid, Shakir, and James Cook. Sometimes Dawson Knox. But that's on the wide receiver room. So hopefully, Josh Palmer can help this wide receiver room out and open things up for others. But we can't rely on that. So this is a big week. The Chiefs have looked like the best team in the NFL. The Bills are underdogs at home. I'm really nervous here, man. I'm really nervous. This is a big win. If the Raiders beat the Jags, then we are still in the playoffs after we lose this game. But if the Jags beat the Raiders like we all expect, the Bills, if we lose, are out of the playoffs, and the Chiefs, if they lose, are out of the playoffs. As of right now, through week 9, heading into week 10. So, listen, all week I've been kind of saying to myself, I think the Chiefs win this game. And I hate doing that as a Bills fan. But I do feel this strongly sometimes when I watch the game. But as I'm talking about this game and as I'm thinking it over, the Bills need this badly, and I think the Chiefs are kind of due for a loss. I think this is going to be a shootout, man. I think Pat Mahomes is going to be throwing the ball beautifully against our secondary, despite Maxwell Harrison showing some swagger and showing some aura on our defense last week. I actually think Michael Hoyt and Joey Bosa and the boys, despite Ed Oliver being out, will be showing a lot of push on the defensive line. What I saw from Michael Hoyt last week was just not some guy who is now unsuspended and just a random guy we signed from the Rams. That is a guy who can get some push. Hoyt, Russo, Bosa, Epinenza, Jordan Phillips, Daquan Jones, that rotation on defensive line, I think they put in some good work this week. Shaq Thompson, Jordan Hancock out at safety, Maxwell, Taron Johnson, Benford. I like what I saw from Benford last week. Trey White, listen, I don't want to see you much on the field, but maybe put in some good reps. I think the Bills win as underdogs at home. And I think the Bills, hopefully if the Patriots lose, are first in the AFC East after this week. This is a big game. This is a tough game. I will be sweating my balls off. I might even be blacked out for this game. That's how big of a game this is. It's a major, major game. I mean, major. Major game, man. This game is something, dude. I can't wait to watch this game, and I can't wait to be stressed out for 2 hours plus. This is always one of the biggest games of the year. It's always one of the best games of the year, and I don't expect anything different. Two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL going head to head in the best rivalry in football. And everyone's saying it's not a rivalry because we're 0-4 against them in the playoffs. Shut the fuck up. If you ask the Chiefs who's their hardest comp in the NFL, they will say the Bills and the Eagles. And you know why they're saying the Bills. And you know why they're saying the Eagles. So, give me the Bills at home as underdogs in a big game. And they get the big win. Josh Allen shows why he has the second most odds in MVP this year through week 9. And he proves doubters wrong. I don't know how he still has doubters in the year 2025, but all these Bills fans talking shit, all the media talking shit after a 49 win, nah, he proves the doubters wrong this week. And people are like, how does he have doubters? He's Josh Allen. Well, listen to Bills radio. Listen to some of these fan pages of the Buffalo Bills. People are doubting Josh Allen still. So give me Josh Allen. Give me the Buffalo Bills getting a win at home. Would I be surprised if the Chiefs won? No, they're the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, and they look like the best team in the NFL these past couple weeks. But give me the Bills at home in a win they really need. I think Josh Allen has a big game passing. I think Keon Coleman has a big game, but there's really no convincing words I can tell you why I think Keon Coleman's have a big game. And I think James Cook continues to have a big game. And I think James Cook continues to have a great year. I think he has over 100 yards again. Now, if I was the Chiefs, I don't want the Chiefs to see this, but if I wanted to stop the Bills this week, I'm stacking the box and letting Josh Allen and this wide receiving core beat me. And I think that's what they do. And I think they will be met with a surprise. And I think this offensive passing game will be the best it's looked all year since week 1. So give me the Bills getting the win at home in Buffalo in a packed out stadium with Nance and Romo calling. I want this to be a great game. I don't want it to be a blowout, and I don't want the Chiefs to blow us out. And I feel like if this is a blowout, I think the Chiefs win in a blowout. So give me the Buffalo Bills. This is a big game, man. Jim Nance and Tony Romo on call. I am stressed out. You guys will be getting an epic show on Sunday night, Monday morning, because I will be absolutely dialed. I might even be slurring a little bit of words, and I might even be depressed, and I might even be happy as shit. So you don't know what's going to happen on Sunday, but I hope you guys are there. If you made it this far in the video, give a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Why not? You made it this far. Just subscribe and see me next time on Monday morning, Sunday night. It is your boy, Matt Talks Sports. If you like this content, maybe you like my film content at Matt Talks Films. Follow me everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Matt Talks Films. Follow me everywhere at Matt Talks Sports, Instagram, and TikTok. And guess what? I will see you there. I will see you on Monday morning for a full Week 9 recap and to tell you how I feel about the result of the Bills versus Chiefs game. I will see you boys Monday.